All right, welcome back to Noodletown News. So when the outbreak just happened in China, we saw a lot of generous donation of supplies from the international community because that's what globalization is about, helping each other out to advance towards a better future as a global village. As one of the largest economies on earth, the US said that it would donate $100 million. Okay, like I won't comment on how insignificant this amount of money is, since like 20 bucks is 20 bucks, but
Whoa,
apparently that was a
whoa,
lie too.
dude.
Yeah, so US said it will assist in February, but by late March, China's foreign ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying said that China didn't receive a single dollar. And
Oh
then
shit.
and then savage as she is, she questioned whether US has paid its dues to WHO. Alright, so wait, who still owes who money? Hey, see what I
You
did there?
son of
Anyways, apparently, apparently, U.S. still owes the WHO money. That can't be right. It's not like Trump has a habit of not paying his fair share of taxes or bills. So yeah, I want to dig through the WHO's assessed contribution sheets for all member states, and here are some interesting figures I found. So yeah, every year, like each country's contribution amount is calculated relative to the country's wealth and population, which makes sense, right? Like everyone's gotta pay their fair share,
Yeah,
no more, no less.
you right, man.
Uh, Shut the fuck up.
Dude, I want more lines.
All right, okay, fine. The link of this table is attached in the description, so you can check out the numbers yourself. So yeah, some countries are really great with their bills, like Australia, Canada, Italy, Korea. It's only April, and they paid off the invoice amount for the year of 2020 already, and they don't owe any amount from prior years too. And then we have countries that just have a fraction of their 2020 payment left outstanding, like India, France. And then we have countries that haven't paid their fees for the year 2020 yet. And we have China, Japan, Germany, and so on. But it's kind of understandable since it's only April and China just got fucked in the face by COVID-19 right off the bat when the year started. And Japan's a bit tight on the kaching because of the Olympics.
Oh shit. Wait, are they actually canceling the Olympics this year?
No, they're postponing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To like next
Like
year?
I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to be back on track next.
I
But
guess.
yeah, anyways, like then we have another list of countries that still owes the WHO money for not only the 2020 payments but also have balances outstanding from prior years. Like Brazil invoiced amount is 7 million, still owes 9 million from prior years. Total outstanding amount is 16 million. And then Mexico invoiced for 3 million, still owes a million from 2019, so total is like 4 million. All right, now we have the almighty United States, all right? Like the country with one of the biggest economies in the world, led by none other than Donald Trump, a
Whoa,
prestigious leader that has no history of
whoa,
not paying his fair share of taxes or
whoa.
bills. Well, how much of how much is US behind on its payment? Well, it's invoiced for 58 million for 2020 and then it owes 41 million from prior years and that comes to a total of 99 million dollars outstanding. Now, to
Whoa.
put that into perspective, to allow comparison between country to country, and excluding the payment for the year 2020, US still owes 70% of his fair share of payment from last year. So basically, if we're like roommates sharing one house, this US guy basically have been living rent free last year since the middle of March.
Oh
I mean,
shit.
I mean, even countries like North Korea and Djibouti
Wait, what
are
the
up to
fuck is
date
the
with their.
Djibouti?
uh, exactly. Even they are up to date with their payment. But U.S. is falling in the same category as countries like Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Nauru, and Mongolia. Oh wait, Mongolia owes $91 from last year.
Yeah, the guy probably made a typo while he was sending the e-transfer.
Alright, now imagine the same roommate, right? This guy who hasn't been paying rent for more than 8 months last year is now complaining about how the landlord, WHO, is exhibiting favoritism over one of the tenants. And now imagine that same roommate is now threatening not to pay rent in the future because the landlord criticizes the US tenant for not doing enough chores and then complimenting the China tenant for doing his chores. Like, wouldn't that be ridiculous and hilarious? Oh, wait, that's exactly what Trump is doing right now.
Whoa,
Alright, man, what a
whoa,
story.
dude.
What a legend. Alright, but if you
Whoa.
take one step back and look at the bigger picture, it will only be logical. After all, he is the man that has a history of paying his fair share of taxes and wages. Alright, on to our next segment.
All
Brought to
right.
you by Jackie
Whoa.
Small
Whoa.
Dicker.
Show. Everyone has been affected by the coronavirus pandemic, right? Workplaces are shutting down. People are starting to work from home or getting laid off. So due to this, a lot of supply chains have become disrupted. And many industries are running out of the parts and supplies that they need, especially when they rely on solely one country, namely China, because it was the first country to be completely shut down. These countries have started to diversify. Japan, being mainly reliant on China for its trading, saw their imports from China decrease by half in February when COVID-19 hit, right? And so the government has allocated 2 billion USD to fund shifting the manufacturing back to Japan, and a tenth of that to fund shifting procurement of supplies around Southeastern Asia. And a study done by Tokyo Shoko Research has found that 37% of the 2,600 companies that they interviewed have already begun diversifying their procurement since February.
Yeah, like there's no one holding a gun to their head saying like, oh, you gotta produce your shit in China. Like they made that business decision because the Chinese workers are disciplined and they do it for cheap.
Oh,
man.
like the U.S. has already been talking about this for a while, right?
Yeah, they've been talking about it since last year, for the tariff war. But then like Trump got a lot of, like Trump was like demanding for businesses to move back. Like they're not as nice as Japan that offers to pay for the fee. They're like just they just put out like an executive order, be like you gotta come back, boys. And then but then he got a lot of backlash because there was like a storm on Twitter, just people sharing posts of their of like Trump products that has the tag made in China, and how like even the voting machines and the Trump 2020 banners are made in China. Yeah, but yeah, like I don't blame countries moving out of China if the production cost rises, because like over the years we do see a steady increasing in the wages in China because people are getting richer, and then they're demanding more, right? Like even China's moving out of China. Like some of the factories are moving to Vietnam or Indonesia for cheaper labor, right? Like this world runs on money. Whichever has the best like price to quality ratio, like that's where the businesses are going. No one's forcing anyone to make any decision, and no one can force the business to act on the nation's self-interest rather than their company's self-interest, because like especially in the West, like China can't do that. China, it's a communist country. Like if the big boss says, "Oh, you gotta put nation's interest ahead of your corporate interest," like you gotta do it. Otherwise, you go and die, man. But then,
sure.
well, you wouldn't die. You just disappear. But like, but like for like capitalist countries, like in the West, like no one's gonna give a shit what Trump says. Like. Yeah, even Trump. Even Trump doesn't listen to what he says. Like, he's still making his banners in China. So yeah. All right, that's a lot covered for today. We'll continue next time covering how Donald Trump's son-in-law is actually profiting off of all the medical supplies sold and donated to the U.S. So stay tuned and remember to keep yourself safe, because we need you to come back to watch our videos.